y'all, it's James Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade. You just saw me adjust my sound settings a little bit. I got some feedback that I blow people's eardrums out as the videos that I play are hard to hear. So maybe the slight changes I just made will help counteract that. Anyway, we have a video here with AOC, which is freshman congressman, New York, member of the squad, pretty much the most crazy far left person in the entire Democratic Party. She is, in a way, kind of like the mouthpiece of the progressives, like the de facto leader of the nuts. And I thought it was very interesting. I was watching this particular video, and it's so spot on. I've always... how do I put this? I've always had the feeling that far left Democrats act out of fear. That they're afraid of their shadow. They're afraid of everything. Everything they push is, oh my God, the world is ending. Oh my God, the world's going to be destroyed. Oh my God. It's always fear. It's fear, it's fear, it's fear, it's fear. Like the coronavirus. Oh my God, people are dying. Yeah, oh my God, people die every day. Hundreds of thousands of people die every year in car crashes. We still drive cars. The world is not exactly a safe place. But yet, we go out and we go about our business. We don't jump at our shadow. Well, at least I don't. And I think most sane people don't. But let's listen to AOC giving some advice, shall we?
Every single day. In the street, you know, when I go to get lunch in the bodega, what have you. I talk to people all the time. And one of the most common questions that people ask me is, where do you get the courage? Like, where do you get courage to do things? And, you know, I'm always taken aback by that question because it doesn't feel like courage to me. And by that I mean it's fear. It's fear. I'm scared all the time too. And this moment and these moments are not about ignoring your fear. It's not about setting it aside. For me, I can't set aside fear. I'm scared all the time. You know, sometimes the actions that I take or the decisions that we're making, they're huge. They're enormous. They are life and death for people. And I've had moments where I'm terrified. But what you do with that...
Everything is life and death for her. She's scared all the time, she said. And you know, this really makes a lot of sense. It really does. I really have a hard time relating to the far left. Because I don't jump at my shadow. I'm gonna die. I understand that's gonna happen. It's inevitable. We all die. But I'm not scared to live my life. I'm not afraid of my shadow. I'm not afraid of the coronavirus. I'm not afraid of... Well, actually, there are a couple of things I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of AOC. I'm afraid of the crazy far left folks who are all nuts. And they're nuts because they don't think rationally. They're too scared to think rationally. They're acting irrationally because they base everything out of fear. But let's continue to watch a little more of her advice now.
Fear is that you look at that fear and you turn it into fuel. Because fear, what does fear do? Even on a physical level, take a step back. Feel your fear. Really feel it. Don't push it aside. Don't try to push it down. Don't try to ignore it. Don't do this. Feel your fear. Feel how it's making your heart beat faster. Feel the sweat. Feel the antsiness, because it's telling you to act. Your fear, when you are feeling that fear, you turn it into fuel by taking this and using it to act, to leap, to jump. That's what you need to do right now.
Ah, yes. The company line. This is like the oldest line in the Democratic Party. Or line, well, maybe line's the wrong way of putting it. This is the oldest play. Yes, this is the oldest play in the Democrats' playbook. Make everyone scared so that they vote for them. Right? Because for some reason, well, not some reason, if you've been voting Democrat long enough in your lifetime, if you're one of these people that just votes down ticket everything that's a D, it's easier to do that if it's an existential crisis, right? If you've been convinced that the world is ending, then you're not going to think about things rationally. If you're scared, you're not going to think about things rationally. If you're running for your life, you're not going to think about things rationally. You know, her advice is terrible. If your heart is beating 100 miles per hour, how about stop? Take 3 or 4 deep breaths. Let your heart slow down. And not act. Think. Use your brain. Discover why it is you're so scared. Maybe confront what it is that has you so scared. But don't run from it, which is pretty much the Democratic Party line. Scared, run. Scared, wear a mask. Scared, shut down the world. Scared, nobody leave their house. Scared, oh my God, I'm too scared, I don't know what to do. It's overload. Lord, I mean, I can't even talk right now. Sane people don't think this way. But I digress. I really thought that this video I caught here of AOC talking about how fear dictates her life was pretty interesting, and it certainly does corroborate my belief that a lot of Democrats act out of fear, that they're scared of everything. And this is the reason they're so authoritarian. It's the reason that they think that it's okay to shut the world down, because they actually believe that shutting the world down is going to somehow protect them. And it's not. They're not thinking rationally. They're thinking desperately. They're thinking out of fear. But I digress. So yeah, if you've ever wondered why Democrats, well, not Democrats, why progressives and Democrats to an extent, all Democrats are a little, how do I put this? Tend to use different parts of the brain. So I don't know if you're familiar with any of the science behind the right hemisphere and the left hemispheres of your brains, and how one hemisphere is more tangible, more analytical, more logical, where the other one is more artsy-fartsy, more creative, more musical, more artistic. Well, those same hemisphere changes also play into fear and bravery. If bravery is even the right word to use. No, I don't think bravery is a good word to use. Fear and lack thereof. So bravery typically is where you're facing your fear, right? You're actually scared for typically probably a pretty damn good reason, and then you go about facing said fear in a heroic fashion. That's what bravery is, right? But no, I think just the baseline slider bar between not being afraid and being afraid is probably just fear and a zero value. Not afraid. So again, different sides of the brain will put you at a different spectrum of how scared you might tend to be, based off of just simply your personality and how you're wired upstairs. Hollywood. I don't know if we have you ever said, Hollywood just is not in touch with normal people. They're just abnormal, and they tend to be these far left people, right? Well, Hollywood are, you don't get much more artistic than actors and actresses who sing, dance, act, etc., etc. They are certainly firing off of a certain side of their brain hemispheres more commonly than the other side. So I think it's interesting how it's interesting how the Democrats, how people on the the left side tend to be cowardly and scared of their shadows. And that might be probably the single biggest difference that is so hard to understand between the two various parties, especially when you come to things like the coronavirus. The coronavirus this year has just been, wow. Coronavirus has been awful, right? These government shutdowns, the lockdowns, they've just been insane. And of course, we can't survive. The economy can't survive. The country can't survive in a state of lockdown. But they don't understand this. The only thing that registers to them is the safety of their health. They don't care about the safety of their wallet. They don't care about the fact that if they don't have any money, they're not going to have a roof over their head. And if they don't have a roof over their head or money, they won't have food in their stomach. If they don't have a roof over their head and they don't have food in their stomach, they're going to starve and or die out on the street because there's nowhere to go. Or be it if you have a family, you're not going to be able to keep a roof over your family's head. They think very one-dimensionally in the now about their personal health, not about logical things, right? When Trump talks about the solution being worse than the problem, he's so spot on. And most normal people can understand that concept, that the lockdowns cause depression, that the lockdowns will lead to suicide, that the lockdowns will lead to increased drinking, to increased domestic abuse, to, there's so many different ramifications that the lockdowns have that are every bit as bad, and maybe even worse, than dying to the coronavirus. But they don't think about that. I just swear to God, I don't think they think. I think they're so busy running from shadows that they don't have time to think. Anyway, I've rambled on enough about this. I thought this was a very interesting video where we got to see the craziest of the crazy pretty much straight up admit that she's always afraid, which we probably already knew that. She's the one claiming that the world's going to end in what was it, 12 years, 10 years? But yeah, that's actually who this woman is. She thinks the end is nigh, everything's going to end, the world is ending, she's afraid of everything at every moment of her life. I don't know how you live like that. I don't know how you think logically like that. Anyway, I'm James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until the next time, all. Peace.